Right, so we're ready to start the second part of today's schedule. Strategies of Implementation, Cultures for Sustainable Futures, where we will hear about a few examples of how the ideas and the concepts, intentions that we're discussing can be implemented. So to start with, I welcome Daniel Lang and Matthias Barth for the UNESCO Unit-Win Network.
So, and I invite Deepika Yon. So,
I insist.
So there, so I'm very happy, and I'm only there to say, to introduce kind of Matthias and Deepika and many more people. And we had an interesting discussion yesterday during dinner. What makes a UNESCO chair a UNESCO chair? You know, there are many things, but at the end of the day, we came to the conclusion that it's not the chair holder, but it's kind of the idea of the UNESCO chair, and particularly the people working at the UNESCO chair and the network, the connections to other UNESCO chairs that make a UNESCO, you know, and I'm new, I can interpret it myself. So therefore, it's very important, and I'm very happy that we have many people of the UNESCO chair, of the Unit-Win network here that is newly founded. We have Katrin, who was kind of super instrumental of making this happen at the end of the day. We have somebody who is no longer at Leuphana but running the show on the level of the professor, and we have Deepika Yon, who is kind of coordinating this entire UNESCO Unit-Win network. So I now did already my job because I am on the slide, so I had to say one or two words. And this is a big thanks to everybody to have this wonderful initiative started and running. And what this all is, the Unit-Win network, how it works, who is in there, what is the basic idea, will be presented by Matthias and Deepika.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me as the odd one out, not being an UNESCO chair, but really honored to be here and to be involved in discussions and really having the opportunity to present you that it's been about implementation strategies, and this is really the launch of a new network, which I think is very promising when it comes to implementation and the question of how we get to that sort of next level. And Daniel introduced me as being not with the chair anymore. I'm still somehow associated, at least that was last time I checked. So it's really, you know, being president of a university for sustainable development is a wonderful job because you can really steer things into the right direction, I think. And, you know, you less interfering with what is often, you know, hindering us of going to the next level. But I also miss that sort of on-the-ground work in projects, and that is sort of my second leg, and it really helps me not losing touch here. And I'm been deeply involved in the work at the UNESCO chair at Leuphana, also with Gerd Michelsen, who most of you will know by heart. And we really wanted to steer that idea, and we found wonderful partners out of the existing UNESCO chairs that really help us doing that. So lots of logos, and I will come to the partners in a bit. I will give you sort of the where we're starting and what we wanted to steer really. And it is about teacher education. We all know, and it's in a lot of UNESCO policies, how important teacher education is for really making the change happen. And that is a promise and a challenge in itself, because it's a promise to see how we can use sort of the next generation, but also I think you as well as I, we're getting increasingly impatient. You know, we are running out of time of waiting for the change happen in the next or the next after generation. We really need to focus also on the teachers that are in the system, and we need to find ways to not only invest in teacher education at the universities and waiting how that triggers down. if we think about what needs to happen in the 2020s, 2030s, up to 2050, we also need to think about professional development, about the existing school system and how we can make change in there. And that is sort of what brought us together. And if I talk about us, it's 6 founding partners. And I'm really glad that at least 5 of these 6 founding partners are in the room right now. So we do have the University of Creta, the only one that is not participating in here right now, a partner who brings in expertise in ICT and education for sustainable development and help us steering the whole thing. We do have the Earth Charter Center, and we have Alicia in the room who's part of that network, connecting us with Costa Rica and the idea of the University of Peace and the Earth Charter Center. We do have the Heidelberg University. We have Alexander in the back of the room, instrumental in steering, also pushing from the south. I always say we push from the north, you push from the south, really bringing forward what is happening in Germany in terms of ESD and how we can connect that to teachers in different subjects. We have York University with, first and foremost, Charles, who probably started reorienting teacher education when I didn't even know what teacher education was. And as Daniel already mentioned, Katrin, who really was instrumental in bringing these partners together, handing in that proposal so that we're moving on from a loose network of UNESCO chairs working around the topic to a UniTwin network that really can bring together the different complementary expertises. And Rhodes University and HALA. So that is really great of having these partners and thinking about how we can use our expertise and also our sort of local embeddedness to build a network out of these local nodes into a more global network. And the idea here really is to have not only a network of these 6 founding partners, but a network of networks. So it's getting to even be broader, because it's now really about implementation. It's not about just best practice examples of a few, but really reaching out. As you already mentioned with the declaration, we want to go from a couple of hundreds to thousands to more than 5,000, because we need to have that sort of that critical mass to really make change. And I would say it's the same in here. So we need a critical mass of partners to really make a visible impact. And this is what Deepika can tell you more about.
So UniTwin Network has 6 core founding members, but we are also joined by 38 plus institutions, organizations, universities from across the globe. And as you see, these are the universities. And if any of you would like to join the network, we are more than welcome to have you. It's a very thriving, active network, especially so far the founding members are concerned, but soon we are getting into active mobilization at the tier 2 level. We do have Islamic University representatives with us. They are part of the network. And while we were working on this map, we realized that we are also part of other networks. So we are also represented, some of the institutions here are also part of the UNESCO-Chair on Education for Sustainable Lifestyle, then also the International Association of Universities, which York University is leading on SDG 4. So there are sub-networks within this whole group, and we are more than welcome to have new partners, but on a strategic partnership, not just in the sense to be a partner of a network, but also to do some more strategic work. And maybe the Jena Declaration could be a starting point, for us to take it as a tier 2 level. So what exactly is this network doing? I mean, this is a UniTwin, a very recently founded network. We are coming together with expertise in ESD, also in teacher education. So these are the 3 focal areas of work of this network: ESD research, policy development, and ESD implementation. So far, we have been able to get some hands around ESD implementation, especially with the project that we have recently started with funding from German Federal Foundation for Environmental Education. But in the 4 years, we really want to focus on these 3 axial areas equally and get some strong work on teacher education for social transformation up and onwards. So we have started this project called Politics for Future, and since the UniTwin network does not get any funding, so we submitted proposal to DBU, and I would like to invite Matthias to present this project, please.
Yeah, I don't even want to go too much into details. I just want to give you a bit of the logic of why we are doing such projects and why we are starting these things. And I think that's something we share and a common sort of challenge. We often have that sort of, for outsiders, rather abstract ideas of network building and building a communities, writing or influencing policies, policy development. So that's sort of invisible but still very important work. I think we also need some sort of momentum and some sort of action orientation that really brings us together, that reminds us also internally why we are doing what we are doing, and that gives us sort of a platform to also exchange ideas and to keep momentum with that learning together and from each other. And that is exactly such a project. So it started low-key. It's really bringing the ideas we have on global citizenship education and ESD together, bring that into our teacher education in different areas, contexts, because then we can start with that learning from each other. So for me, always the question is, where is the generic model of how such courses should be built, and what is the specificity of places and contexts? So how does that translate into work Alicia and colleagues are doing in Costa Rica versus what Charles Catherine are doing at York University, we are doing in Germany, south and north. So that really is the idea. Then we can compare in a meaningful way. Then we can learn from each other to further develop a generic model as robust as possible, but also, nurturing on the differences that come with different contexts. Because then we can spread that in our network of networks, so that, it's not the blueprint how something should be done, but that we see sort of what are the key drivers and what are the strategies to overcome barriers to implement it in a huge diversity around the globe. This is the idea of such a project. It helps us bringing that network together, and it helps us really starting such projects to make them more robust, to bring them to an evidence-based level, to spread them out as far and wide as possible. I think that is very important for us. Thank you very much.
And there are two very specific things about this project. We have active participation of the Young Forum of the German UNESCO Commission, and we have Hannes representing the youth voice in the project, and that's why he's also here with us in this room. So we have the Youth Forum, and also this project also gives voices to the coordinators who are working with the UNESCO-Chair. So Max, myself, Alicia, people who are working to support the work of the UNESCO-Chair also have a strong voice in developing the curriculum and running the project. So we are having a kind of a secondary youth voice into this project as well. We are very glad to have German UNESCO Commission, their blessings with us on this project, because having them as an applicant to the partner really increased our chances of getting the funding. So we are very glad to have them on board equally as a partner. So in fact, we are 7 partners in this project, the 6 co-founding partners plus the German UNESCO Commission. Thank you.